This might be the best podcast we've done yet. It was really like an honestly really interesting conversation that we had for this episode. Obviously, we did Lil Peep's Come Over When You're Sober Part 2. Neither one of us have actually ever really dove into Lil Peep at all, or even really listened to him at all before this album. So it's an interesting perspective we have. We get into a lot of conversations about drugs and addiction, friendship, and things like that. I tell a really personal story, something that happened in my life, a couple of them actually. But yeah, it was a good episode. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. Corey actually ended up coming to my house the night that we recorded this podcast. So we recorded this in the morning. He came to my house that night. And as you can tell by my voice, maybe, we wilded out pretty hard. And I will say that it's going to make for a very interesting podcast. Seeing as, we just did Lil Peep, and seeing as the next podcast we do is on a book about drugs. So yeah, if you guys are interested in the next episode, be sure to check out Dr. Carl L. Hart's book, Drug Use for Grown-Ups. He did a podcast on Joe Rogan as well. That's very interesting. And we will be bringing that episode to you guys May 11th. So we're going back to this every 2-week schedule now, but we will see you guys in 2 weeks. Thank you guys so much. Be sure to follow the podcast on Instagram, Mind Control Podcast. And we'll see you guys there. Enjoy the episode. Peace. Hello, everybody. I'm Mikey.
And I'm Corey.
Every week we discuss and review a new book, movie, album, TV show, or honestly any piece of art or culture that ourselves and you guys choose. This is Mind Control. So there was these people who were being kidnapped and mind controlled.
Exactly, dude. And I can totally see how that happened. Because, imagine if you were just given acid or just drugs like that are so disorienting for hours and hours on end and never being able to come down and not feeling safe and having somebody tell you things and accuse you of things, Yeah.
Mind control. That's how we do it, baby. GG's. Mind control.
On today's episode of Mind Control, we're going to be discussing the second and final studio album by recording artist Lil Peep, Come Over When You're Sober, Part 2. Released on November 9, 2018 through Columbia Records, Come Over When You're Sober Part 2 was released almost a year after the death of Lil Peep due to an accidental overdose on November 15, 2017. Come Over When You're Sober Part 2 was announced just a few days before the anniversary of Peep's death and was pieced together by Peep's longtime producers Smoke-a-Sack and George Estasio. Lil Peep, aka Gustav Elijah R., was an American-Swedish rapper, singer, and songwriter. He was born in Allenstown, Pittsburgh, and sadly, he was only 21 at the time of his death, leaving a career behind that was just beginning to see his full potential. Come Over When You're Sober Part 2 accurately depicts the emotions and turmoil that Lil Peep was experiencing at the time of his death. Many songs on the album seem to be crying out for help and accurately display the throes of addiction, depression, and anxiety. Prophetic lyrics paired with interesting instrumentation lead to an album that shows what addiction and loneliness feel like when you are lost in them. An artist that passed as he was coming into his prime, Lil Peep leaves us with an album that is emotional, genuine, and authentic in its feelings and lyrical content. This is Lil Peep's Come Over When You're Sober, Part 2. Yeah, dude. What up? I fucking actually ended up liking this album a lot, I've listened to it quite a bit now. Yeah, man. Good suggestion. I honestly was really surprised that I liked it at all. I honestly thought, I don't know, I guess my own bias, I thought I was just gonna hate it, and I was like, all right, we'll fucking do this.
I thought you were interested in Lil Peep or you've heard good things, huh? I thought you were mentioning him.
I've heard good things from people, but I don't know, I'm never really, I don't know, not a lot of people, but I was interested though, but just because you said it, it was good, and I was like, I figured it had to be something different than what I thought it was, if you liked it, and it was, it was really good. I mean, it was in ways what I thought it was gonna sound like, but I guess I don't know, it works, the way it sounds and what the songs are about and the way he's singing them really makes them feel really genuine, really. And then, did you watch the documentary?
I didn't, dude.
Bro,
I didn't have time.
Okay, so even though you're not gonna obviously watch it for this, you should still watch it.
Oh, I
Like, it
will.
was actually a really good documentary, bro. I watched it when I had to work from home, so I watched it here by myself, and like, dude, it was actually kind of sad too. Like towards the end, like there were a couple parts where like I was like, man, this is like, it was like almost getting me a little teary. Like it was sad, because like this dude, like that's the thing that's why I feel like if you watch the documentary, it'll make you like it even more because like all those songs on that album, like or most of them sound like exactly what it looked like when you're watching it. Like it just seemed like this dude was just he was fucking going hard all the time. Everybody around him was going hard. Nobody really gave a fuck about him. Everybody was just he was the party, so they fucking followed him around and they would give him free drugs and like I mean we'll just fucking jump into it, but I was already writing notes, but like on the song let's see oh, Cry Alone. Because I wrote my like favorite songs down, but Cry Alone's one of them. But at the end, he says, or he says it throughout the song. I think I really hate it when I cry alone out loud. I really hate it when I cry alone out loud. Yeah, but dude, like in the fucking movie, there's literally several fucking people who they interview who talk about that like they would like, oh yeah, I caught him behind right before the show, just crying by himself in the corner, or like a bunch of shit, like his girlfriend too, like about how like she would catch him in the back and like he would try to be like he would cry before a show and he would try to like keep it down so people weren't hearing him. And like it just seemed like the dude like not even that he had problems, he just seemed like he was so into the drugs and like and nobody really cared about him and like he was young and it just seemed like a recipe for like disaster.
Yeah.
And then like the songs, like it just when I listened to the album after the movie, I was like, fuck, dude, like every single one of these songs like is almost like addressed in the movie without them talking about the song. It's like it's literally like he was like asking for help in these songs, like he was what he was saying was true, like like that's what kind of made me like everything more. I mean, it's sad, but like I like that it's genuine, It's not this guy just like crying about being suicidal and doing drugs but not living that life, which I guess would be better for him. But I mean, like, when I watched the documentary, I was like, fuck, like I don't know, dude. And even some of the things he said kind of reminded me of like us, like just like he was super like, I don't know, dude. He was super insecure. Like they talk about his tattoos too and about how he had all those tattoos. But his girlfriend said like he would constantly when they would go places like, oh, how was everybody looking at me? Like he knew that they made him look different and he kind of didn't like it. But like he was doing it anyways. He said that he did it too because like he decided like I don't want a normal job. And if I get tattoos like this, I have to fucking do something.
I've heard that about him. Yeah.
Which I think is kind of dope. Like, it's like putting yourself in the corner. Like, okay, I do this now. I can't live a normal life. No, I have to do something. It was cool, dude. It made me have a lot of respect for him, which I didn't. Because even listening to the album, I was like, oh, the album's good. But I probably wouldn't venture out and listen to it much more just because I like this. But I don't know. The documentary made me think like, oh, man, this dude's like, it was fucking cool,
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. You should definitely watch it.
A lot of those things you said, I have heard. Like I've heard things here and there, especially when he died, about how he was really depressed and how a lot of people were using him. He had a lot of like shitty people around him. I remember hearing that he didn't like his tattoos and shit like that. That he felt like really insecure about shit and that he was super real. But yeah, I don't know. I would shit on Lil Peep back in the day. Like I remember just the name, the sound, the overall just idea of who he was and like any little tiny things I'd hear. And mostly because Timmy fucked with him real hard. So I just troll Timmy about it.
Yeah. I feel you. Yeah.
But when he died, I kind of gave it a second chance. And really what got me into it was because when XXXTentacion died, I fucking checked out X's shit more and I really got into it. So when Lil Peep died, Lil Peep died first. I'm sorry. So it was like, I think around the time X died is when I checked out Lil Peep, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
And the first thing I checked out was Come Over When You're Sober Part 2, which is obviously what we're doing. But like when I listened to it, I was so shocked. Like, what the fuck? This sounds like epic, like musician music. Like this is a guy who's really well-rounded out in his talent and in his music. And then it was like, but so I've always been really hesitant to check anything else out because I don't want it to fuck up like that idea of what I think of this album as. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck ever. I've never really ventured out further. Go ahead.
No, yeah, no, dude, that's how I felt when I listened to this. Like, it is similar. Honestly, up until even when you were suggesting this, I was still talking shit about it. I remember telling Frankie, I was like, "Fuck," I was like, "They got to do the Lil Peep album. Mikey wants to do it." I was like, "Whatever." I was like, "Well, I'm gonna do it." I was like, "It's probably gonna suck," you know, like because that's how it in my mind too. Like, and like I had this like preconceived notion of like what it was, and like, oh, it's just this emo sad boy music, which I like sad
And it
music,
kind of
but I don't
is.
know why. Yeah, it is. That is what it is. But
Yeah.
like, you know, but it's weird because I like sad shit, you know. So, but like, yeah, I was very like, I want to fucking listen to this. Like, I'm gonna listen to this for Mikey only. Like, that's the only reason for the podcast, you know. But then, yeah, dude, the first song, honestly, immediately, because I texted you, I think,
Yeah.
first time I listened to it, and like the first song is what got me. The she's look for the girl with the broken smile.
Broken Smile, yeah.
Yeah, and dude, it's just the way it starts out with the instruments, and I don't know what it's
So
like a
dark.
xylophone or something, and then it's like I gotta go right now. Yeah, it reminded me of I don't know what it reminded me of, but instantly I was like, this is not what I thought it was gonna sound like, you know?
Yeah.
And then as it goes on, there are songs that sound more like what I thought, but as I got into it, I don't know, dude. Like I got a lot of and I know people are probably talking shit for saying this, but I got a lot of like Nine Inch Nails vibe, like Downward Spiral, just like based on like lyrics and the way it sounded, almost like because like the instruments and the beats sounded like you said more epic, but like the way he sings over them sounds very like disconnected, and it goes with the lyrics, like with what he's saying.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of reminded me of like, because the Downward Spiral is all about like, you know, suicide and like getting so low on yourself. We should do that album.
The Downward Spiral's a Nine Inch Nails album.
Yeah, dude, that's like the most famous. That album is wild, and it's all about. It's fucking crazy. We should do that.
That sounds tight.
But anyways, that's just some of the vibes I got, and like that's why. And then I kept listening, and like the more I listened to it, I was like, man, I really like a lot of these songs. Like "Sex with My Ex," dude. Like that one, I feel like is a little different than the rest on the album. Like as far as like, it's not as sad and shit, but I fucking love like that song. I feel like it's super fucking catchy.
Yeah.
And I'm like surprised I never heard that song on the radio, dude. Like I feel like that would be a banger, you know?
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of I've never heard Lil Peep in any sort of mainstream conversation except for when he died. But
Yeah.
what is so wild about this album is like what it does is it shows his fucking potential of like what he could do. And like if this is where he was when he was this lost and this fucked up and you know whatever in such a bad spot, imagine what he could have done if he was in a better spot. But then also, this is another thing I want something I'm curious about. What do you think that there's some like obviously doing drugs is bad and you know whatever, but like is there something to living that wild drug life that gives you the ability to make music like this, like in the sense of a Jimi Hendrix and like you know Janis Joplin and or whatever the fuck, you know, like these artists who are amazing but they're fucking drug addicts. Like do you think there's something to just losing yourself in that life? And do you think that it's I think it's definitely possible, but do you think that there's, I guess, that it's easier to get to those artistic places when you're on drugs?
I mean, I think it probably depends on the person, but yeah, I would say that definitely though, like, yeah, I don't think some of these songs, no, a lot of these songs, I don't think they would, excuse me, sorry. I don't think they would exist without like fucking his drug use, you know, that's what like I think that's what I was kind of trying to say in the beginning, like, which sucks. Like, obviously, it'd be better in the documentary if like he got sober and everything, but like the way he was in that documentary kind of just added to the music, which sucks because like it brings up like I've seen this conversation before about like what it means to be authentic in music and like if it's always like necessarily a good thing. Because if you're talking about drugs and shit and you're talking about shit that people can relate to because other people definitely go through what he was going through, it's cool. But at the same time, like, is it good that he's authentic about it? Like, I feel like that adds to the music for me, but it's a bad thing for him because it ended up killing him, which is like in the movie, you know, it's like he has all these people around him who are obviously adding to the lifestyle he's living and are kind of adding to the music that he's making. But at the same time, nobody really gives a fuck about him, you know? So it's like, it becomes like, I don't know, like the drugs are, I feel like the drugs. Okay. So I don't know if you've gotten into the book yet that we're going to do next. You have, right?
I read like the first chapter.
Okay. So I'm like halfway through. So reading this honestly really is changing the way I'm thinking about a lot of things. Cause he goes into how he goes into how heroin and how people who say like, oh yeah, I just smoke weed, like I would never do things like heroin, how like that's super stupid and very biased of somebody to say that heroin and marijuana are actually like, he just lays out how
Mhm.
heroin's honestly like alcohol is worse than heroin and all this shit,
Yeah.
you know, and he kind of goes into just being responsible with drugs. And if you're responsible, that yes, they can add. So like for your question, I feel like yes, I think some people definitely need those drugs to get to certain places, but I feel like there has to be a limit, you know, because like
Yeah.
otherwise like it happens, you fucking, you know, you die, and it sucks because like of course the music wouldn't have existed without that, but
How
I don't
much?
know, it's
How
weird.
much? How much music do you think would not exist without drugs?
A lot, a lot,
Would
bro.
these
So you
guys be a thing? Like, would fucking the
okay?
Beatles?
So Pink Floyd actually, you know, I
Roger
don't know
Waters,
because
I think
he
he
did
did.
acid one time
Okay.
and he hated it. Yeah, and he
Really?
hated it. Never did it again. Yeah, he did it at a club and he said he had a terrible time and just never touched
Really?
it. And then if you read a lot about Roger Waters, he's very controlling and it makes sense. Like, you know, psychedelics aren't for people who like control, you know, like you
Ah.
have to be able to give up some control. But yeah, dude, he really didn't like him. It was more Sid Barrett. So you are
Oh
right
yeah,
though,
Sid
because Pink
Barrett. Yeah,
Floyd
there you go.
started with Sid Barrett, and that definitely set the drug tone, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so weird. I thought it was really weird when I read that about Roger Waters. I was like, how did he make these songs without doing a bunch of psychedelics?
I
They
did read.
sound all
I do remember hearing that he did acid and that it was like a one-off thing or something like that. He only
yeah.
did it
He didn't
once.
like it.
He
He
tried
said,
it or something like that. Yeah. But
yeah,
so it's kind of wild, dude. That I came into even contact with this album because like it's technically like his major label, his second major label album. The first one was obviously
yeah,
part one, which I didn't even know until I researched it last night. So it's and from what I read, part two is actually really, you know, well received, and actually a lot of people really fuck with it, and it was really well received when it came out. But I think that a lot of legit, like really hardcore Lil Peep fans didn't really fuck with it. And
I remember you were telling me that.
yeah,
Yeah,
and I've heard that from Timmy, and I read that on a couple other boards. But I think maybe that the reason is because a lot of his older music was a lot more like, I don't want to say low budget, but like underground sounding, like, you know, like SoundCloud
lo-fi.
sounding, like lo-fi. Yeah, like so the vocals are real low. You can't really, like, you know. I don't know. It's one of those. It's one of those things, and anything I've ever heard from him, other than this, from before, for the most part, does not even come close to this production value on this album. Like the strings and the fucking just the production overall, everything with this album is like next level production in my opinion. Like even from part one to part two, it's such a step up. So it's like
Yeah, I was gonna ask that. So you listen to part one? Does it sound? I haven't listened to part one at
it
all.
does
Does it sound
it
similar?
sounds like part one. Like it doesn't. It sounds like how swimming compares to circles. And but it might
Okay,
be different for you because I know you've really liked swimming. I've never really got into it like that. But
yeah.
in the sense that they sound similar, and then that
Okay,
and like
cool.
how swimming isn't maybe on the same level as circles in my opinion. I guess that's how part one sounds to part two to me. But yeah, so it's super interesting. I told Timmy that I was gonna call him today to ask him what he thinks about this album. So I doubt he's gonna answer, but let me do it just to see what he says. Yeah, just to see if he does it. I doubt
You're
it.
gonna phone a friend.
We're gonna I feel like it'd be fun to do for the podcast, but I doubt he'll
Use a
answer.
lifeline. I want to call my brother Timmy.
Hi, Timmy, you're on the Price is Right. No, it's not it. He's not gonna answer, bro.
Hey,
He's still
Timmy,
asleep.
this is Corey Mize. You're on mind control right now. Your cousin Mikey's with me. I mean, your brother Mikey, your brother.
No, he's not gonna answer. He'll call me back if anything. But yeah, so I wanted to call him because I was just curious. Like I know that
Yeah.
Lil Peep has like a really hardcore like fucking fan base. So if anybody out there who's listening is
Is anybody
a hardcore fan, let us know what you think about this album compared to his other shit. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And maybe recommend us some shit to listen to.
So I wanted to say two things. One on your okay, so I don't want to forget. So one was going to be on your first question about the drug thing.
Mhm.
I don't know if we've talked about it before, but do you know Damon Albarn, or you know the Gorillas at least?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's the main dude who does the Gorillas, and then he does a bunch of fucking actually side projects.
Mm.
He does a lot of music shit. But he gave an interview a couple years back, and people were pissed off when the interview came out because in the interview he basically was saying he's sober now, but he said, yeah, he's like, I used to do heroin, and he said that he pretty much doesn't regret it. He's like, heroin did a lot of great things for me. He's like, honestly, he's like, some of my best songs I've ever written were under the influence of heroin or because of heroin. And like people were pissed that he said that. But I was like, like it just made me think of the book and just like your question, like, it's true. Like it sucks. Like it sucks when you get too into it. But I think definitely drugs are, especially more reading this book and just from our experience alone, I think drugs are definitely beneficial.
Absolutely.
When they're not abused to the point where they're like fucking up your life,
Absolutely.
But I mean, sometimes people even turn that into something,
I think that you're totally right. Like the drugs are just a fucking chemical. It's not, there's no fucking soul to them. There's no morality to heroin. It's just a chemical you put in your body. It makes you feel a type of way. That's all it is. There's no fucking good or bad. There's no morals to it. So it's like, it gets blurry with how we live now. And it's like, yeah, this book is gonna be great.
I can't wait. Yeah, I'm gonna probably finish it like this week and then read it one more time, just because like it's like I don't know, dude. Like, yeah, I don't want to get into it because we're doing this. But but it definitely had me thinking.
You gotta watch this podcast
a lot about drugs. Yeah, I'm definitely going to. I want to check up a couple things on him. He seems super cool.
I started watching this podcast on Rogan, but like the first 45 minutes, they talked about like fucking Trump and Black Lives Matter and shit, and it was just like a little like. I mean, I like Carl Hart, but I think that the beginning of the podcast does not reflect the rest of it from what I heard. So it was like, because
he was on there for the book, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it was like, I heard Joe talk about how like the beginning of the episode, he feels like he kind of fucked it up because they went into a weird topic, but either way, still off topic. No. But
no. And then, but the other thing I was going to say was in reference to your, how you said his other music sounds different. So I never really checked out his other music at all, even when we were doing this. But in the documentary, because there's like a lot of live performance shit and just his songs playing throughout, there's a lot of songs that aren't on the album, and like some of them were fucking they were dope, actually, like super dope. I don't know if you've heard any of these. You've heard some other songs, right?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Okay, let me see. I have them written down right here. They were fucking dope. I want to look them up. I mean. So there was Star Shopper.
Oh, I've heard that. That's a banger.
That shit's dope. Beamer Boy, and then there's a song called Hellboy too. And bro, like, I mean, we'll talk about it because you'll watch it. You don't care if we talk about the documentary, right? Fuck it.
No, I don't care. No. Okay. That's what I want. That's why I didn't watch it, so we could talk about it, because I feel like you telling me about it will be more enjoyable for the viewer listener.
Okay, so. Yeah, because dude, the documentary fucking, I just, knew nothing about him, and, like learning about him was interesting. But anyways, there's a part, and I'm pretty sure the song is Hellboy. That's why I have it written down. But it was a concert he's doing, and it's fucking crazy to watch. But he's like about to go on, and there's like a bunch of A&Rs there, because this is like right before, like he's big now, but he's not like huge yet, but he's about to blow, like he has big ass fucking, he's selling out shows. It's crazy, bro. He was selling out shows in Russia and like all these fucking
He's Swedish,
countries.
He's Swedish?
Is he?
He's
they
Swedish.
Don't really go into that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's Swedish. Yeah. Swedish born.
Shit, yeah, but he does all these shows in all these fucking places over there. And then but anyways, he does this one and these A&Rs are coming, and he comes out, I'm pretty sure, to that Hellboy song. But right before the set, like the dude, like, because they're giving the interviews, and like his manager's just like, like I seen him back there just sitting in the corner with his head down, just by himself. Like he even looked at one of the dudes, the A&R dude, and was like, hey man, like I don't know if I can fucking do this, And then after though, he still goes out, and like the first song, they have it like all in there. He's like, you could tell, like he's fucked up, like he can't even really sing. He's like, he looks like he's gonna fucking like pass out or like die, And then he like turns towards the speaker, and then blah blah blah, and then the whole song plays out, and you can tell the crowd's like weird. And then after the first song though, like sometimes when you're super fucked up and then you snap out of it, he snaps out of it, and then he finishes the show, and it's dope. And then he comes off the stage and he tells like the same A&R, and he's like, I told you I could do it. And then the A&R is in the interview. He's like, that's when I knew, I think we have a problem, because like right before the set, he's like, I can't fucking do this. And then after he said that, he came up kind of like, I told you I could do it, like kind of like he didn't even remember. But dude, like it's crazy though. Like he gets super, like he gets fucked up. Like that's when I was watching, I was like, bro, like he's going hard. And then for his age, like, dude, I don't even go that fucking hard. Like, and he's going fucking hard all the time. Like, it's sad, you know. It's kind of sad to watch, you know. It kind of made me think of like, fuck, like, I mean, I know I don't go that hard, but I've been there where I've been up for a day or two, you know. And it's like, fuck, like, I don't. It's hard to watch when you see it, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, in the movie they don't make it look gross, but it's like, I don't know, you know, if you've
You
been
know,
through it,
I think
how
you understand the realities of it. That's why it's gross to you. You've been there in those rooms amongst those people, maybe even been those people we like both of us have, you know? We know what it feels like when we're up for a day and still want to get fucked up. And then you can only imagine what it's like when you're up for 3 days and you're doing fucking heroin and all this other shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, or I mean, you're probably not up for 3 days if you're doing heroin, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then he was like fucking, you know, popping all those pills and shit. And then it was actually the last tour. I mean, we should just get into it because it was interesting. I had no idea this was even a thing. Did you know that there's theories that people think that he was either murdered or there's just iffy circumstances around his death? Did you know that? I didn't know.
When it happened, I remember hearing that there was like shady shit with somebody he was with.
Okay, yeah, so it's interesting.
That's
so what happened was, I mean, see, the thing is, the only reason I don't believe that anybody killed him is because if you watch this fucking movie, all throughout the movie, there's multiple times where he's so fucked up, it looked like he could have died then, you know? So it looked like, you know, like, I mean, I don't want to say it like this, but, you know, like, when you're on that trajectory, like, it just, if you watch the movie, it makes sense that he overdosed, you know? It makes complete a 100% sense that he probably took too much or didn't know what he was taking. Because, dude, in the movie, like, people literally, I'm pretty sure they do this to a lot of celebrities, are just giving him drugs. Like, he gets a card, has acid in it, you know? He, like people are literally just giving him drugs all the time, you know?
Yeah.
And he's just fucking taking them, you know? And, but anyways, yeah, so what happened was he was on this last tour. Well, not the last tour, but he was on his last tour, you know? But it was like one of his biggest tours. And it was supposed to be this big fucking thing. And he had this whole, I don't know if you know about Goth Boy Clique. It was like his like group. I didn't know about it, but
I've heard
they
Goth
talk
Boy.
about the documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah, he talks about it a lot. But it was like it was like a collective. There was like a bunch of them, you know? And they all lived together for a while. And there was like a time, it's pretty crazy. Like there's a time when they were all just literally paying for Airbnbs and they were just moving to cities together and recording together and partying. Like it actually kind of seemed like the idea of it was interesting and cool, you know?
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, so they were all cool. And then they went on this last tour and so this is the reason people think, at least from what I got in the documentary, is that Lil Peep was doing this last tour and he wanted to bring them with him still because they were his boys, you know? And, but if you watch the movie, I don't want to talk about Goth Boy Clique because some of them are like real artists and I don't know if it's just them they're talking about or all the people that he had around because there's a lot of fucking other people besides them that were on that bus, you know? But anyways, in the documentary, though, they make it seem like he was going to leave Goth Boy Clique right after this tour because he was going to do his own thing and that people think that somebody in Goth, not all of them, but maybe one of them fucking gave him bad drugs or knowingly let him die. But anyways.
Just to spite him because they were mad he was leaving or something?
That's what they kind of make it seem like. But honestly, dude, watching the movie, I didn't get that vibe from any of them, you know? I mean, they were all fucking gone, but like if you watch it, it seems like okay. So let me give you what happened. So what happened was he died on his tour bus, and there was a shitload of people on that tour bus, and he was on that bus for 4 or 5 hours dead before anybody noticed or called the cops or called the ambulance. So that's why it is a little sketchy because there was but also if you watch the whole movie, how hard all these guys are going, I was like, it's very possible that they were all so fucked up into their own fucking shit that they might have thought he was just asleep and passed out. But there is like, there's weird shit though. Like there's a video that was posted like 4 hours before the call, and it's like them on the bus, and like you can see Peep in the back, like Lane, and like okay, so like they kind of say something like, "Oh, Peep passed out," but if you look on the video, he looks dead there, and he is dead already, I guess, in that clip. But he looks like he's dead. Like he almost looks blue, and he's like there, just laying there, and they just kind of left him there for 4 hours, and then they called. It's weird, you know. Like I don't want to talk shit because I don't know what the fuck happened. But then there's also one part in the documentary where the dude says that he walked into his bedroom and he saw Peep covered in his covers, so he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna just let him sleep. And like I was like, okay, because at first that's what
Watch
they
it right
said.
now.
And I was like, oh, that makes sense. I was like, because if I saw somebody who I knew was partying hard and they were laying in their bed, I wouldn't fuck with them. But then there was that video, and I was like, that video,
Oh
he looked
God.
dead,
Yeah,
right?
he
He looked
does.
dead already.
That was
Yeah.
rough.
So
What
then
is this lead chick doing? Is this a dude or a girl? A dude.
I didn't.
Doesn't
I
matter.
so
But...
the video I saw only one video
Oh
that they put in the
God.
documentary. I
When
think
they
there's
just like
multiple
zoom in on
videos.
him and he's like that.
Maybe, yeah. And he looks dead already, dude. I think he is dead right there. And
He
yeah,
looks
that's why,
white.
dude. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's why people think
Oh my God.
that maybe, or maybe not even that they killed him, but that they knew that they knew he was fucked up and they just kind of didn't give a fuck and just left him there. Which I feel like, I don't know, watching the movie seems more reasonable to me, that these guys were all so into their own shit that they didn't give a fuck enough about to even check if he was okay, because they were already in their party. But I don't know.
Look
dude.
at this
I don't know.
table. I'm hearing you. I'm sorry. I'm listening. I'm just like,
No, I get it.
no, yeah.
Bro, when I seen it in the movie, I was like, what the fuck?
Dude, just looking at this table with all this paraphernalia and shit everywhere, these guys, even if they knew he was dead, who knows? Oh, that fucking shit is gross.
That's what I'm saying. Like they were all going so hard. Like, like I mean, when you're fucking that gone, you're not fucking thinking about other people, And I'm not saying. I mean, I don't know, because it is iffy. Like if I seen you on the couch like that, I'd probably be like, hey Mike, like way before 4 hours go by,
But
the only reason I think it's weird is because of the interview where the guy says that he saw him laying in his bed. So he's like, oh, I just thought I'd let him sleep. But then later there's that video. So I'm like, oh, well, he was on the fucking couch. He wasn't in his bed, So like,
true.
I don't know, dude. It's weird. And then even the phone call, like, because they have the phone call.
Hold on. Let me let this cat out. Hold on. My bad.
Yeah, go ahead.
Fucking kick it. All right, sorry. Go ahead.
No, yeah, but even the phone call, like when they call the ambulance, like that kind of, I feel like makes it seem more likely that they were just too fucked up, because like you hear the dude, like, because the lady's telling him what to do. She's like, if he is not breathing, put him on the floor on his back, start CPR. And the dude like on the phone is like telling the people he's with like 10 fucking times, like so many times. And it just sounds like, when everybody's fucked up and they don't know what to do, so they're panicking, and so it does, like, I don't know. That's why it was hard when I watched it. I was like, and then giving the interviews, like a lot of them seemed like they did really like him. So I was like, I don't know if they killed him or if they were just super negligent about it.
That's
and
probably.
Then and then decided to lie about it or something. Or maybe they were like, fuck, let's move him to his bed, or let's make it see, like you panic because you're on drugs and you're like, oh my God, he's been dead. What are we going to do? We fucked up. Like,
So I have a super relevant story that is gonna, like, I don't think I've ever told you about this, but maybe I have. We had Monica had a cousin who was living with us, staying with us, a few years back, and she was always real close. So I knew her since we were in 7th grade. She would always be around. But basically, long story short, I guess, we ended up, she was staying with us. Her boyfriend was coming over all the time. His daughters would come over, hang out with Victoria. And, they would babysit, watch the house for us when we went to Coachella or whatever. But anyways, so it was a normal thing. What ended up happening, we ended up finding out this girl was stealing from us. She took one of Monica's cards and was literally, we thought we lost it. And then like a few months later, we got a new one, checked the balance, and then it was zeroed out. So she was stealing from us. We found out. Anyways, we haven't talked to her since. I was like, that bitch will never be allowed in my house. What the fuck ever. But what ended up happening before we knew that she was stealing from us, she was with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend was addicted to heroin, I guess. I didn't even know this. And I guess that they were partying, and he had supposedly, according to what she said, that he got some shit that was stronger than what it was supposed to be. So maybe it was fentanyl and not heroin. But she was texting Monica like, I don't know what to do. He's passed out. He won't wake up. He's making noises. She ended up sending us videos of him like head back, eyes in the back of his head, white shit coming out of his mouth.
Why didn't she call?
She said that he had been like that for a couple hours, and that she didn't know what to do. And when the second she sent that, I was telling Monica even before she sent the video, like, call the fucking ambulance now.
Yeah,
now.
You don't want to be fucking implicated in that shit.
Yeah, not even just that. I was just like, you're so stupid. Like, yes, if he's not responding to you and has shit coming out of his mouth and eyes in the back of his head, yeah, call the fuck. I think that there's a confusion that happens because when you're on heroin, you look kind of like you're ODing no matter what. You know what I'm saying? But maybe there's a confusion there. Maybe. I don't know.
I feel like when drugs are involved, people get scared to call the ambulance.
True.
And it's
True.
like, nah, that's bullshit, dude.
Yeah.
It's somebody's life,
Yeah.
Like,
So basically, it ended up, we had these videos, and he ended up dying. He died. He was dead. He was already dead when they got there. And
that's terrible.
Ended up finding out too, side note, that she ended up stealing from this dude. And she took his like government card after he died and was like still collecting his like government money. She is and was a piece of shit. But anyways, so it's like in that moment, bro, I wasn't even there. I just saw a video and I instantly knew that she needed to call the cops, or call the ambulance. So and I don't necessarily know, whatever. It's just a wild fucking story. And it was like, it's sad, man, because a part of me wonders if she took her time because she wanted to have his money. They're kind of like a very similar, I don't know, what the fuck ever. Maybe this is a bigger conversation.
So Monica is the one who ended up calling?
No, we weren't with her. We were, but we told the girl to call. And I don't know when she called or what, but she was talking about maybe I just let him sleep. But I was like, no, he sounds dead. He was making gurgling noises like, like couldn't breathe shit. It was bad, bro. I'll never forget that video that she sent us. But the dude had daughters, and the mom died from heroin too. His baby's mom died from a heroin overdose also. So it's like to have firsthand, stories like that is fucking crazy. And it's like it's just rough, man. The fucking, we talk about heroin and we're going to get into this book and all that. And there definitely is, I stand by what we say, but people are just weak and dumb and
bro,
natural.
I swear it's not like, bro, I swear you got to get more into this just because like, that's what he talks about. Like he's like, he's not saying drugs aren't bad and not that they can't be dangerous. Like for sure they can be.
Yeah.
But he's saying like the things you hear, like so many people dying from heroin, so many people dying from this. He's like, it's so rare that they're dying from pure forms of these.
True.
Like, they're dying because of ignorance, because we are not allowed to test our drugs. We're not told. He's like, even people who get, I mean, I shouldn't get into it, but even people who get pure drugs, how many of us have ever been educated on the amount you're supposed to take to fill it? Nobody. He's like, and it's because of the system, and we're not allowed. Their whole approach to it is, let's tell you the harmful instead of telling you how to use them correctly and be safe with them, when that's really the right thing. Because literally for every civilization ever, every human civilization has done some form of chemical drugs or alcohol or something, every single civilization. So you can't ban it and say it's harmful. It's very safe if we just educated people about it. It's like not very safe, but it's safer than what we're made to believe it is.
It's like imagine like there was a war on sex, right? And what they did was say, no, you need to be abstinent. If you fucking have sex, you're going to jail. Motherfuckers are still going to have sex, but they're not going to be educated as far as like safe sex, STDs, pregnancies, all this shit. You know what I'm saying? But we understood people are going to fuck and they're going to want to, there's going to happen. So what we did is we implemented these systems within the education and all these other things to educate people. So it's like, it needs to be the same thing with drugs, because obviously whatever fucking war on drugs is happening. Exactly. It's not working. It doesn't work. So it's like, I think it's a matter of time before all drugs are legal. And
oh yeah, they've done it in what is it?
In Colorado, I think, or Denver.
They did it in
Portland,
Puerto Rico too, though, I think, or somewhere like that. It's like they're not all legal, but they're decriminalized. So like you can't sell them, but if you're caught with them or using them, like you're not going to go to jail.
I think that's Colorado now, no? Or Denver, maybe.
I think they did it. They did it in Portland too, for sure. Yeah, but what's it called? Dude, he likens it to like a car. Like fucking people die in cars all the time. We're not only preaching the harmful aspects of cars. Instead, we're teaching people how to drive cars and providing handbooks on what you're supposed to do in a car. Even if people don't read them, the information's there. Versus drugs, it's very hard to find reliable information that talks about the benefits or how to use it. Instead, it's how you should not use it or how harmful it is or how to be safe. And yeah. But we're getting into the book. But, you know, it's very relevant to, I feel like, a lot of the topics that are popping up because of this album, you know? But anyways, back to like, dude, so that's honestly the end of the documentary got me, because I swear the whole documentary, they never alluded to any sort of conspiracy. And even at the end, they kind of do a good job of presenting the facts without saying anybody did anything, but you know, showing that why it could be fishy. But I didn't even know that was a thing until I watched it. So at the end of the documentary, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, oh shit, there's like I didn't know. Like because watching the movie, dude, like it just like I would just kept expecting it, like which sounds sad, but honestly, as the movie was getting close to the end, I was like, oh shit, he's probably gonna die right now, or OD right now, or oh, this is probably just because like how fucking hard they were all going all the time. And there's even an interview on his last tour. I think it's with Zane Lowe. It's in the movie, and Zane Lowe's like asking him about it because it's like his first like big tour and that he's on, and he's like, you know, he's like, things are just getting worse. And then Zane Lowe's like, oh, what do you mean, like because of the pressure and anxiety? And he's like, yeah, every day he's like, I feel like it should be getting better, but it's just getting worse on this tour. This tour has been the worst. And then that tour towards the end is when he died. And it's like, but it's crazy just because like that's what makes it so sad, is because literally interviews, songs, fucking multiple people saying how they would catch him crying in the corners, and not one person stepped in to try to get, obviously
they
when
tried.
you're that far gone, but the people around him didn't. I mean, and I don't want to talk shit, but everybody around him in that documentary, besides like the A&R manager, maybe everybody else seemed like they were doing drugs too, you know? So it's like, I don't want to talk shit because I don't know. Maybe people did tell him to slow down, but it did seem like everybody was living that lifestyle. So you can't blame them either. It's not like they were just feeding him drugs and not doing them themselves. They were all living this life together, you know? It's just sad because it's like, he's on this big level. And I even think about the ARs and the managers, like you guys. Like, I mean, you can't control him, but like, you know, the way he's going, like, you know, like, I mean, it's sad though, you know, because either way, at the end of the day, he's an adult. And it's just like with Mac Miller. But it's like, you know, you feed these guys drugs and then tell them you love them, but you don't. Like, you don't, especially the type of drugs you're feeding them, like, you know, and at the quantities, like that's what they talk about.
What did he take?
He was, I believe he was taking.
What did he die from?
But it was with fentanyl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I don't think they knew. Yeah, I don't think he knew it was fentanyl or something like that. So I think, but also, honestly though, I don't know. They don't. It seems like he was doing a lot of drugs throughout the movie. It seems like he's constantly mixing, you know, alcohol, pills, cocaine, like, you know.
Do you think that you've ever done fentanyl, like on accident, or like had gotten anything mixed? Like I feel like I've had a couple highs, especially with those weird ecstasy pills back in the day, where there was definitely some weird shit.
I'm pretty sure I've gotten like weird shit before, you know, especially like with like coke and shit, you know. I don't know why I said it all quiet. It was like coke and shit.
No, yeah, I'm sure. Like, have you never noticed like one batch like just feels like real, like you feel sleepy or your breathing is weird,
or different. Yeah. No, I have, where it feels like it almost feels like I don't know, like you have
like
to
a downer.
Catch your breath. Yeah, it's almost like a downer. Yeah, instead of being an upper, like it feels really good, but it's also like you're kind of down, but at the same time you're kind of still edgy. It's
That's wild.
So I'm pretty sure, dude. That's why the book is crazy, because it's like, I mean, I guess I already knew this, but he's just really pushing that. It's like, fuck, dude. Like, so many people, if we just fucking educated people and at least let them have any access to drug testing kits themselves, you know?
Well, they're expensive. I mean, you can buy them, but they are expensive.
Yeah, but I mean, there's very like, there's a very like a push. Like to keep them out of the mainstream, though, you know.
That's true.
Because they feel like if he talks about it, they feel like if they promote those, that they're promoting drug use, which you're not. Like, drug use is happening regardless of what you say, you know. So,
and they're still. I keep bringing it up, the comparison to sex, but I mean, the people fucking give people condoms for free. There are centers you can go to and get a bag of condoms for free. You can get birth control for free. You should be able to go and get clean needles for free. And there are a lot of places where you can do that. But there is.
It's cool.
So
there is. There's more people doing it.
Yeah. For some reason, a long time ago, not for some reason, William Randolph Hearst and a lot of other pieces of shit correlated morality to drug use. And because we are humans and we want to be morally sound, we don't want to do drugs. It's just as a society, we consider drugs to, be bad. Some drugs to be good, some drugs to be bad. And that entire idea is what is killing people.
It is. But I can't wait to get into that. But no, it is, dude. But
it's weird to say. It's kind of like, I wonder, like, that's kind of weird. Crazy, not weird, but like, yeah, we're very courageous, I think, just to not only to be talking about a Lil Peep album and then also be talking, I guess,
drug awareness
in support of legalizing all drugs.
But I mean,
no, I get what, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, bro, I swear, like because I already knew the book was gonna kind of like be dope, but it just kind of some of the ideas he presents. I was like, when he first says them, I'm like, oh shit, like damn, like I've never thought, like when he said that about the whole like people who say, yeah, I smoke weed and do this, but I would never touch heroin because that's bad. I was like, bro, I've said shit like that. I'm like, fuck, and like he kind of makes me feel dumb for it, like, and he presents all the reasons why that's a dumb statement, like, and I'm like, oh shit, like, I think, and how it literally kind of, like you said, demoralizes certain people, even though we're all doing a substance. Like,
absolutely,
we're putting certain people down.
I think one thing you can do is say, hey, for me personally, when I've done this substance in the past, I've had bad experiences. You can say that, but one thing, at least that I've been trying to learn and teach myself, is that I can't blame that drug and I can't believe that because somebody else does that drug that they're morally wrong the way that I was during that experience, or that I was, or that they have a bad experience, or that it's bad for them the way it was for me. It's all circumstantial and up to you. So it's like the same way you don't judge somebody if they like wearing tutus and getting fucked. You know what I'm saying? You don't judge them. Like, that's cool. Do you? I'm not going to judge you if you do fucking heroin, or you do fucking coke, whatever the fuck, I'm a lot of sex comparisons. Sorry, I think I'm.
No. It is funny that you bring that up, though. Yeah. It's very funny that everybody now has this push for acceptance of any type of lifestyle which you want to live, which I think is dope. I think that's perfectly accurate. But it's funny though, like you said, it's funny though because most of those people do not include hard drug users into those categories. But I was like, but they should be. They should be. They're literally. It's literally the. Most people do drugs in the pursuit of happiness, which is protected in the Constitution. It should be, I mean, of course it morphs over time and people can become addicted, but most people, when you're doing drugs at the beginning, you're doing it in pursuit of trying to be a little happy or trying to think different. I don't know. We're getting too
no. Hold on. I'll end with this. Let me say this. It is something super beautiful that Russell Brand said one time. You fuck with Russell Brand at all? You ever listen to any of his interviews or podcasts?
I've listened to interviews before him, and I do like him, but I never really paid too much attention
on podcast. He has the Under the Skin podcast. He has a lot of his podcast episodes are amazing, but he's super smart. Yeah. Anyways, to end, and we'll go back to the album, but he talks about how he truly loves drug addicts and alcoholics, and he thinks that there's something special to them because of that pursuit of happiness you spoke of. Because he, in his opinion, or what I've taken from what he said, is that pursuit of happiness is actually a pursuit of the divine, or in his or pursuit of feeling that holiness of life, that of God, basically, that divine. He has an audiobook where he talks about it and about how we're losing the idea of sacredness and the divine and God in our society, and how that's gonna really be the end of us, and how he thinks that we need to get back to that in any way, whatever. But basically he talks about drug addicts and alcoholics as they are in this constant pursuit of the divine. They want to feel that high because it brings them closer to Christ and God in a way. And he talks about how, in a sense, they're almost like in a way you can look at them in a sense like prophets, because they want to be so close to this happiness and their pursuit. And that's all they care about, is that oneness with the universe.
Bro, I'm gonna be in your bathroom today with the key. I'm pursuing that.
I'm going to be with God,
prophet, baby. No, bro. No, not even that. I just had to make that joke. But honestly, dude, fucking hair. But honestly, I completely agree with that, and not even just in drugs. I don't know why. It's interesting because I literally at school the other day, the teacher and somebody else I work with, they were talking about religion, and I normally don't get involved because they actually do like prescribe to religion, and I know me saying like, oh, I don't believe in God, like I don't, I just stay out of it, But I was listening to them talk about God and shit, and like, about like
that's so fun. I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
Sorry, this just sounds, the things you talk about like with your school and stuff, I just get jealous. It sounds so interesting.
I mean, it was cool, but I mean, yeah, it wouldn't have been a good conversation if I got into it with them. But anyway, they were talking about God, and it just made me start thinking about like, because I was thinking about like what I would have said, like, and like, like I don't believe in God, but in a way, like I believe, like, I guess maybe it's not that I don't believe in God. I've been thinking about this a lot, but I don't believe in God in the sense of what people think.
The myth.
There's some guy who's there's no judgment. If there was a God, it would not be to sit in judgment of my fucking morality or the lack of or whatever. It's like I feel like you said, like what Russell Brand's saying, like you can find God in a drug, you can find God in music. Like there's songs I've heard that literally, you've heard songs too, or seen things, or especially music though, where like a song, it's just sound can almost make you want to cry or make you feel these crazy emotions that, it's literally from a sound. And I feel like, I don't know, like I feel like I think people would be better off if we saw God in like almost like everything. Like you can find God in your love for your daughters. And it's not God in the sense of, oh my God, I'm going to heaven or hell. It's God and just, that's just the word for it. Like I wouldn't even say it's like,
that's heaven.
Like love.
You can find heaven.
It's like God, heaven, love. Yeah. It's like all the same, And it's like you can find. It's like in the True Detective when he talks about like, because I mean, no matter what, every time I watch True Detective, I never want to believe that Russ believes in God at the end. But I like his description of being just one with his family and just everything is just one. Like I feel like that's what God is when you feel like. Everything just feels like it connects. Like, and like I've gotten that feeling from mushrooms. I've gotten that feeling from music. I've gotten that feeling from Frankie. You get that feeling from, your kids, from fucking just it comes and it goes. It's not like God's not this one thing. It's so many things, and you can find it everywhere, and people can find it in different things. And I like that though about Russell Brand. Like, like some people find it in drugs, and you're trying to
you're trying to get there. Yeah, you're trying to experience God. Yeah, it's wild, and I'll end with this. But fucking, when I was young, man, I remember going to altar calls and shit in church and just experiencing what I thought was God entering my body, and just literally as a child feeling like I'm on MDMA, dude. Like legit crying, just so emotional. Like that's how I felt. What? Go ahead.
Have you seen Saint Maud?
No.
I think I'd recommended it to you, bro. Watch it, because what you're talking about, that's what that movie is. It's this chick. It's an A24 film. It just came out.
Oh, really?
It came out like a couple months ago. We watched it, bro. And it's literally like this chick is like super into God, and I don't want to give too much away, but pretty much like she almost has like, I don't want to say orgasms, but like they're like these intense feelings from God. But it all has to do with it's a trip. It's a fucking trip. You'll probably like it. It just right when you said that though about how you felt like God was entering you. Like, that's literally like they never really say that in the movie, but at some parts I was like, wait, what's happening right now? Like, is this like? She just feels so good, but it's a trip, bro.
All right. Saint Maud.
That's how you felt. Yeah, Saint Maud.
Okay.
But that's instantly what I thought of when you said God entered you.
But it's true. It's like I felt that same feeling at the altar calls as a child as I did when I was older at EDC on acid. Like,
okay, so can I? Yeah. So okay, there, perfect. So since you felt it at both, do you think like it obviously wasn't like because of Jesus? It's almost more like a sense of community. Like you felt it in that church, and then you also feel it at EDC. But it's that sense of being one or a part of something
bigger. You're all building towards it.
God is, It's like, it's just being a part of something. Like mind control is God.
Yes.
We're both a part of this God. Mind control God. But no, it's like it's fucking cool, dude. I really think we should do an Alan Watts book, because he talks a lot about how we need to. Because he doesn't believe in like the normal sense of Jesus and God either, but he talks about how we need to get back to being spiritual, but not spiritual in the sense of religious, more like we need to respect we need to respect where we live. We need to respect the things that we
sacredness
with every day. Yeah, and we need to respect what we live with. Like it's just
I think this
crazy,
idea,
you know?
this idea of nothing being sacred and everything being up for grabs, is the beginning of the end of any sort of any sort of civilization. You know what I'm saying? Like I've heard that it's very common when at the end of civilizations, when things start falling apart, for all the lines to start getting blurred when it comes to gender, when it comes to race, and you can see that in our country now. You know what I'm saying? Like things just start to get too blended and too gray. And us as human beings need a little bit of black and white. I think but who knows? I don't know. We're just spitballing.
Yeah, just spitballing. But yeah, I mean, I can see that too. Like, where were you saying that the end of society would be what
the lines getting blurred.
Sacred.
Yeah,
I can see that, but I can also see the other side too, because like you and me the last episode we talked a lot about comedy, and like in comedy nothing is sacred other than the fact that nothing is sacred, which is kind of cool, you know.
But isn't that what makes it? Isn't that why but it's funny and we laugh at it and it's not serious. That's why it's like we're able to play with the non-sacred, but we're not being serious, and that's why I think, you know, maybe.
Yeah, it gives us I get what you're saying. Like it gives an outlet without having because that's true. Because because I don't that's true.
Because if we were really maybe I don't know. If we were really
if we were really like, if the comedian really meant it, then it would be like, oh man, it's fucked up, you know.
Exactly,
but like they're playing with these things so we can get comfortable talking about these things, you know. So no, you're right. Cut that out. Nah. But anyways, back to fucking Lil Peep.
Hey, hold on. Let me take a pee pee. Let me
take a pee pee.
You said peep, and then I had to say pee pee.
All right, hey, I'm gonna go take a pee pee too. So.
Okay, I'm taking a little pee pee.
What time you want me to get ready?
Be ready by like 12:30. All right. Later. I'll call you. Bum ass. Nah. But yeah, no, I wrote this morning when I was working out. I was like, I'm gonna write my favorite songs, because when I first listened to it, my favorite songs were like Broken Smile and 16 Lines. But at the end, dude, like I would say Runaway is like one of my favorites. That one, honestly, it just reminds me of the documentary, like just how he's talking about how everybody's fake, like and shit. And it's one of my favorites. Sex with My Ex, Cry Alone, which I talked about. It's just
Cry Alone's banger, dude.
Yeah, it's fucking sad. That's what I put. It reminds me of the end of the film on his last tour when he's spiraling. And then Leanin'. I love fucking Leanin'. Leanin' is one of my favorites. I love when he says popping pills for free, pop that pussy for me right now. Like that shit just sounds like when you're in the middle of the night and like you're past the point of giving a fuck, and you're just like, all right, we fucking partying, baby.
A lot of his songs. That's like, even last night when I had a few drinks, like I was like listening, and it was just like, damn, this is that fucked up alone music. No,
it is. And then ID Gaff. I hate
ID Gaff. Yeah, that's what I kept saying. I don't know if people say that, but
I don't.
I think I don't
know why I said it that way.
I said ID Gaff too, like when I was saying thinking of it. That's a banger.
Yeah, I fucking don't like the name of the song, but bro, I love the fuck me when the beat drops. Yeah. Dude, he's fucking dope. So he's catchy. Like you said, it would have been interesting to see what he would have done with, because after this album, he probably would have gotten a lot bigger and started working with other artists and more established like musicians, and it would probably have been really interesting to see what he would have done.
It was exactly like, even like the fact that he has I have never really heard many collabs other than the XXX one that people like the people that I've heard of, like and his other songs. But either way, it'd be super interesting to see what he could do, working with different producers and different artists or whatever. But what I found super interesting too when you text me was like how you were talking about how it makes you want to make music and how simplistic it is and things like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, I remember like when I first heard it, that's a huge it was an inspiration to me too to make music, because it is super simplistic and super honest, but it's like it's original. There's not, I don't know much music like this, like that I've heard before. Like this weird,
No.
like rock rap, but like emo weird. I don't know.
Bro, it is. It is like different. So one of the dudes in it here, I have it written down. Yeah, he said it was like, was it Juicy J who said it? I don't know. Juicy J's in the documentary. He talks about, he's talking like really about how he was excited to work with Peep and how he thought like he was like a genius, which is kind of sucks because Juicy J's dope,
Yeah.
But somebody in the documentary, I don't remember if it was him, but they said that his music was like taking Green Day and My Chemical Romance and combining it with trap and the hip hop that he liked,
Yeah.
and that it was kind of like different. And I was like, that's exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah.
It sounds like My Chemical Romance mixed with some SoundCloud type lo-fi hip hop, and it's like it's dope. It's different. Like nothing else sounds. I mean, people try to sound like this now, I feel like.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But like before that, I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't listen to a lot of that music, so maybe there is, but I feel like this is the first music I've heard like this,
Yeah.
Like,
He to me, one of the first things I thought of is that he kind of sounds like a, I know this is a weird, I don't know, it's kind of a stretch maybe, but I feel like he sounds like a blend of Chester and Mike Shinoda in a way.
I can see that.
Yeah,
I
a
can
little
definitely
bit.
see Chester.
Yeah. It's a little bit,
Dude.
but
He's really good though, man. And you know who he's really? Do you remember? I Love McConan?
yeah, oh yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's a lot in the documentary because they started making music. It's actually kind of sad. Like at the end, when they talk about his dies, like McConan's like crying like a lot in the documentary because like they were really close and shit. I guess towards the end, they were making a lot of music, but he even says it too. He said that he kept telling him at the end, like, bro, like these guys are not your friends, like they're not, like all they want, because dude, there's literally parts in the movie where they talk about how he'd be so tired or exhausted from everything, but his homies that were around, they would get fucking pissed off if he didn't want to go do things with them. And like there are parts where they're calling him like, get up pussy, like stop being a bitch, like come fucking do it. And then Lil Peep was like, it's kind of sad, like you watch him and he's very, I think that's why it's called Everybody's Everything too. Like he's trying to like please all these guys, and then like he'll get up and go do it, even though you could see he should probably go home and sleep, And they talk about that a lot, and then McConan talks about that a lot too. Like bro, like these guys don't fucking give a shit about you. Like they just want you around because you're the party, and like even if you're tired, they still want to go party, so they want you around because they know you're their, you're their meal ticket,
Wow.
and it's like, it's fucking crazy, dude. And then
McConan said this. I love McConan.
yeah, he's in it a good amount towards the end. He seemed like he really fucked with him,
Every time I think about him, I think about how he's a perfect example of coming out as gay doesn't necessarily always help your career. Because he came out as gay and then nobody started. No, I haven't heard from him since.
I mean, he does weird music though, it's different, Yeah. It's like it's not my favorite, like it's.
He had one song, right? One big song.
Going up on a Tuesday.
That was him.
Yeah, that's him.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was his song. That's a banger. I love that song.
Yeah, but he's dope in the thing. He's dope in it. If I'm correct too, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that fool, he went through some shit too. I remember watching a documentary a long time ago. Let me make sure before I say it, because like I don't want to sound fucking stupid. Let's see.
Yeah, I think Lil Peep's a big learning experience for people who are young.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so yeah, he actually he went to jail for a little bit. I McConan. It was a crazy. Okay, so I am right. He was with his homie and they were fucked up, and they were just fucking around. And so he got involuntary manslaughter, but they were fucking around with a gun, and he accidentally shot like his best friend, like, and fucking killed him.
Oh,
and
shit.
then went to jail for a little bit. But I guess the circumstances came out, and it was an accident. But I remember watching the documentary, and it was kind of sad because like he was talking about it, too. I just wanted to make sure I was thinking about the right guy. He doesn't talk about it in this, but I remember there was a documentary about like Atlanta music. I think that's where he's from, and they talked about it, and I was like, damn, that's fucking like, it's like heavy when they talk about it. I was like, oh shit. I think they were both like on ecstasy or something too, and like it was like a complete accident, and like the gun went off, and then he got in trouble, But but I was like, man, that's fucking crazy. But yeah, that's why it's cool, because in the documentary, he's obviously like, I mean, I don't know, but he seems more like sober, and like he just seems really clean in the movie, and like I mean, I don't know. I'm speaking on shit I don't know because of a documentary, but like he seemed like he was trying to be a good influence on Pete, and trying to keep him in the studio and keep him like, doing shit that was positive versus like all the people around him,
I think I think it's super valuable to have stories like Lil Peep's and to be able to point at it and say, hey, if you don't understand that there are going to be people who want to just use you, and there's fucking legitimate demons in the world who come off as angels. If you don't understand that and you don't learn to look at that, I think you can easily spiral down. And this is one of those examples, But it's definitely good and valuable to have something like this. And I think that if anything, Lil Peep and this album or his music will stand the test of time because of that one lesson that is taught through this man. And same thing with X and shit like that. So it's like, I think that him and X's death might have saved who knows how many people's lives, because man, I remember Timmy had a homie who would come to my mom's house, and like as of like a few years ago, like 3 years ago, he was coming by all the time. And one time he came by and he was fucked up. He had white shit on the sides of his mouth. He was like trying to watch the fight with us, but he was like falling asleep on the couch. Timmy had to tell him to leave. Ended up, that fool died. He ended up dying. And I guess it was like Timmy's like really good friend. Yeah. So I think after that, that was a big wake up call for Timmy and a couple of his friends, and they kind of got out of that bullshit too. But he was on a bunch of oxys and shit like that too. So damn, how many people are on drugs? If somebody asked me like, have you ever seen like, do you know any people who do heroin? I'd be like, no, but I guess I do. I have. That's crazy.
That's fucking crazy, dude. Yeah, man, shit is sad, Like, it sucks when, I don't know, when people die young, especially off of this shit, I mean, anytime, I guess. It's weird too, like, I remember, it sounds stupid, but I mean, I feel like when we were younger, not that we're fucking older, I mean, we are, but when we were younger, I feel like, I always thought like, oh yeah, I want to die at 27. I want to die at 27. Like, that's dope. That's cool. These people die. But then you get older and it's like, fuck, man, it's sad, bro. Especially like some of these artists that are like X and like him, and it's like that they're coming up and like literally like not even at their potential yet, but are doing really dope things, and it's fucking it's sad, dude. Yeah,
it is sad, man. I remember I made the introvert album, or was it the introvert one of them, and there was a song I called "Where Are You," I think, where I told this story about like about the girls, and I can't even really come to my mind, but there was this line in the song that I put, and I it's like, I was supposed to die last year. I don't know what happened. And I wrote that when I was 28. So it was like all of my 20s. That's what I'm going to die when I'm 27. That's just what we do. And it's like, what the fuck? Who do I think I am? Like, what? I don't deserve to die at 27. Like, what the fuck?
No. Dude, yeah. And it's stupid, I mean, when you're young, though, I remember reading this about we're talking about romantics and about like Romeo and Juliet and shit like that. When you're young, this shit seems beautiful. It seems beautiful. Yeah, let's die. And then you get older and you're like, life's not as terrible as I thought, even though it sucks, like, but there are reasons to not want to do that, and like, I don't know. Not that I ever wanted to die, like in that sense, but yeah, it was very much like, I don't want to live to be old. I still don't want to live to be like super old and like have to have people take care of me, but I definitely want to live to be like 60, 70, like, and now I have that desire, which, I feel like I didn't before. Like, I was like, oh yeah, I'd rather just party until my fucking flame burns out, but now I'm like,
I think maybe it's common for people young to think that way, because death is romantic. Not real.
It seems like
death isn't real yet,
And we romanticize it, dude. Like I said, Romeo and Juliet, things like that. Yeah, we make it seem like, oh, it'd be beautiful, blah blah blah. But it's messy, And
then growing up in this weird time we grew up in, dude, where it's like media, TV, internet, everything is just, it's everything we do, bruh. Like it's sometimes I think about it like, fuck, I don't even have a life where I'm like looking at things. Like I'm constantly looking at a screen and just like I'm enveloping my entire being into this shit. Like at work, even like I'll notice I have headphones in. I'm getting all hyped up. I have headphones on. I'm listening to podcasts, and it's like I'm not even present in the moment I'm in at work. And just like sometimes it's just like fuck. Even when I want to get away, I still have to check my phone. Oh, am I? You know, and it's just I don't know. This is common cliche shit I'm saying, but it's just like it's confusing to grow up this way. Because and I can only imagine how more confusing it's going to be for the younger generation. But it's confusing to grow up this way and not look at your life as if it's also on this 2D thing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's hard to legitimately live your life in the present and not be caught up in what's in your mind and what's on the screen. You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't know, everything gets blended. Like I hear Mila sometimes say that's real or that's not real. And she's trying to figure out what is real and what's not on TV. And like, I'll talk about like famous people like Ariana Grande. I'm like that she's real, but I'm like, but she's that right there on the screen is not real. Like it's hard to explain. And it's just like, I don't blame people our age for growing up romanticizing everything because that's what we were taught.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. No, it
in
is.
a sense, and it's hard.
It's true though, dude. Like I feel like while like technology and stuff definitely makes a lot of things better. Yeah, dude. Like personally for me, yeah, I find it sometimes making things more stressful. Like, oh, I have my phone in my pocket and I'll open it and I'm like, fuck, I got like 5 texts, like, or it's like, okay, I got to do this, or I got to respond to this, or I find myself checking my Instagram or just bullshit, you know, just fucking bullshit that I think.
How's your night? How's your night?
All right.
How's your night?
Thank you. But then I think like, dude, like fucking people lived fucking hundreds of years without these fucking things and we're just fine, you know. Our parents lived without this for most of their lives and I wouldn't say they're just fine, but they're okay. You know what I mean? And it's like, so it's like I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's fucking hectic, dude, and it's weird. Yeah,
it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be
all the time.
Yeah,
everything you know about the world too is pretty much, unless you travel, it's pretty much through a screen. You know, you don't ever get to see Africa or Australia or anything in person unless you go. Yeah. So everything we know about it is just fucking 2D images on a screen. And yeah, it is a trip.
And it's almost like that's literally where most of our interaction is coming from too. Our education, everything is like on these screens now. And I don't know, it's a weird subject, but it's just fucking
like Wally, bro.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel, bro. When I'm at work and I'm walking around with my fucking cart and I have headphones in and I'm just like, number beep beep Wally. Beep beep. Yeah, like like fuck, dude. I feel like a minion.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, I get you. But
Lil Peep.
Back, I guess, get back on Lil Peep. We have such a hard time staying on topic.
That's good. I think that's when the podcast is sometimes at its best.
It gets
when
good.
When we get lost.
Go on tangents. Yeah. But I do want to like not end on this. We don't need to end. I mean, I'm down. But I do want to end though on saying though like. Jesus.
You were the
first
one.
I wanted to clarify what I said a second ago about the I Love McConan thing too. So I guess what happened was they weren't on ecstasy. They were smoking weed, and his friend pointed a gun in his face, like joking around. I guess his friend was doing it, but then he said his friend unloaded the gun and he had the clip, but I guess the gun still had a bullet in the chamber. And then I guess McConan said he went to grab the gun off his lap and was gonna go throw it in the trash because he kind of got pissed. And he said when he grabbed the gun that it went off and hit him in the stomach. And then, you know, the dude died because he said he thought it was empty because the dude had the clip, but there was actually one bullet still in the chamber and it went off on his lap. And
I remember hearing this.
So
now.
That's what happened. I wanted to clarify. I was like, I don't want to make it sound like he's all rolling and shot his friend or something, you know?
I knew guys who did that in my high school when in Victorville. They were out shooting in the desert drunk, and the dude, he shot this dude I knew shot himself in the stomach, and they drove to a cross streets and dropped him off on the street, and he died right there.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Yeah, bro, it's fucking holy shit. I was just like I didn't even realize.
If he shot himself, like why wouldn't you take him to the fucking hospital?
Because I think I think the gun was not like I don't know.
Registered?
Who know? I think maybe. I don't know. Who fucking knows?
Yeah.
He was drunk and trying to pull it out of his waistband and shot himself in the stomach and died. He was like one of the most popular dudes in my high school. He fucking,
oh damn, that sucks, dude. Yeah, it's terrible. But yeah,
Lil Peep.
Lil Peep. But no, yeah, and also, yeah, man, you should definitely watch the documentary. And then like honestly, too, people who are listening to this, if you have listened to this, I would definitely love to read any comments here or on Instagram about what you think happened, because like the documentary is very unclear, and I don't want to put anything out there to make it seem like anybody had anything to do with his death when I fucking have no idea. But I know a lot of people believe this shit, so I mean, I'd be interested to hear what other people think who are like hardcore fans, like, because I know they're the fan base are more who think it. I just can't, because like that goth boy clique, I don't think it was them. It couldn't have been them, just because like some of the artists in there, like, I don't know, maybe I'm biased. I like some of the artists that are in there, like, because I've heard of them. But honestly, though, they all seem like they fucking loved him. Like, even in the documentary, you know, it seems like they were all, you know.
I think it's worth noting that there's conspiracies.
Yeah, there's conspiracies. Yeah, I want to talk about it. It's in the documentary, so that's why I wanted to bring it up. Yeah. Otherwise, I would have never known about it.
To me,
so I figured it must be pretty big if they put it in this documentary at the end, you know? I mean, it's a small part, but they talk about it.
I think it probably sways more to the side of negligence rather than like actual like.
And I don't even know if it was that goth boy clique. It could. I think it was also just the people around him, because there was just a shitload of people around him that weren't making music. They weren't doing anything, you know? They were just partying.
Why do I feel like I heard something about like the drugs they got was from some chick or something like that, or somebody they didn't know, or like I feel like I remember hearing that somebody knew brought drugs on the bus that weren't what they were supposed to be. But I don't know. That was I probably shouldn't have said that.
No, I don't know, bro. Like fucking, you know, I feel like nobody's ever gonna know, and then because everybody's pretty much so fucked up, like, you know, like unless there's like cameras on the bus, which there's probably not, especially because it's a tour bus. Yeah. Why would you want to record all the debauchery that goes on on the tour bus? You know.
Let me read this little paragraph about his death. Maybe it'll give us a little bit more. I mean, you watched the documentary, I'm sure, but. I'm sure you know, but we'll see. On November 15th, 2017, Lil Peep was found dead on his tour bus when his manager went to check on him in preparation for that night's performance at a Tucson, Arizona venue. Foul play was not suspected, with his death believed to be from an overdose. In a series of Instagram posts in the hours leading up to his death, Lil Peep claimed to have ingested psilocybin mushrooms and cannabis concentrate. In another, he claimed to have consumed 6 Xanax pills following a video depicting his attempts to drop an identified pill into his mouth several times before successfully swallowing one and shaking a full prescription bottle. A subsequent post was captioned, "When I die, you'll love me." In the days after his death, the police report revealed that Lil Peep had taken a nap around 5:45 before the concert. His manager checked on him twice and found him sleeping and breathing fine, but was unable to wake him. When the manager checked on Lil Peep a third time, he was unresponsive and not breathing. Lil Peep's manager performed CPR before medics arrived, though he was pronounced dead at the scene. On December 8th, the Pima County Office of the Medical Examiner released details from a toxicology report certifying the cause of death was an accidental overdose due to the effects of pain medication, fentanyl, and Xanax. Blood tests were positive for cannabis, cocaine, and tramadol. Urine tests also showed the presence of multiple powerful opioids, including hydrocodone, hydromorphone, oxycodone, and oxymorphone. There was no alcohol in his system. Fucking Christ.
So I would like to comment, though, on this, just because that's cool that you read that. And it's just because I've already read this part in the book. He actually talks a lot about that, about how toxicology reports. So obviously he died from an overdose because there's many things. But he talks about how, like, so like the stuff that in his urine and his blood that, like, that's not accurate. Like, you can't say that he was high on those things at that time because they could have been in his system no matter what. And
sense.
there's no telling, you know, when he took those. But yeah, the first two were probably what it was, the Xanax and that. Yeah. But yeah, he talked a lot about that, how like sometimes drugs get blamed just because they're in the system or in their blood or in their urine. And it's like, well, that doesn't mean that they were high on them when they died.
Exactly.
You know?
Dude, yeah. I did 2 little mini documentaries on called Can You Die from an LSD Overdose? And I broke down these events. And when I did all this research, there was like 4 times where people had legitimately been pronounced dead due to LSD overdose, which is technically, I mean,
impossible.
Impossible.
Yeah, pretty impossible.
Not technically, but like basically. Yeah. So when I researched it, a lot of the things that I found was that like they blamed it on the LSD in their system when there was also other things. They just like put it down. So yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, and then he talks about that too. Like depending on what the drug scare of the time is, like they'll be more likely to be influenced to do that. Like right now, it's fentanyl. You know, I mean, fentanyl is killing people, but he's also saying that he also says fentanyl has been used since 1960 and it wasn't a problem. The problem is it's just now it's like ignorance, and now it's being mixed into things that people don't know, you know.
It's cheaper.
Yeah, and it's cheap. Yeah, and it's like, but he's like, but there's nothing wrong with the drug fentanyl.
No.
He's like, if it's taken properly, people have been doing it since the 60s.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it's just ignorance and just not knowing what you're getting and just people not giving a fuck about other people.
It's like if you look at a big dildo, 12-inch dildo, in and of itself, it's not going to do anything. But it's what you do with that dildo.
Yeah.
We should gotta get out of here.
yeah. Before it goes. But yeah, man. Honestly, this is really fucking good. It was a good suggestion. I really like this album. I probably will listen to more of his music. I mean, he's not my favorite artist of all time. It's not my favorite album of all time, but I will say it's really good. I like the genuine. The next time I'm fucked up like this or really bad, I'm probably gonna throw it on.
There you go.
And be sad boy.
That's right.
So but yeah, it's a good album, and I would recommend people listen to it before judging it. And if you still hate it, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But I would have never given it a chance if you didn't want to do it for this.
Yeah.
But now that I have, I realized that I was kind of wrong in some of my assumptions. You know?
What do you think about Life is Beautiful?
Oh, actually, you know, it's funny. I was going to tell you this. So I know it's your favorite song. It's actually my least favorite song.
What? That's so crazy.
I feel like it feels it's a good song, but that's why it feels like it's. I guess it's different from everything else on there. So it's a good song.
Too commercial, maybe.
But it feels like a little, I guess, cliche. The idea, like where he's talking about all these bad things, but then saying life is beautiful, and like, you know, like I get what he's trying to do. Like,
there's some good things too, right?
I get the wordplay he's trying to do too, and it's a good song. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like compared to some of these other songs, where I feel like it just feels out of place compared with everything else. Everything else feels so down and depressing, and that one feels maybe like a little hopeful, and or maybe not though, because it's still down and depressing. And the way it ends is, I think I'm gonna die alone in my own room, you know. So I think that's a good song though. It's not my favorite though.
I would say that I think it's his best song, but maybe not my favorite song. But I do think that if Life is Beautiful was promoted and had a really good music video, and you know, like that song could be like a number one song on the charts. And I think that honestly, it could, in my opinion, that song is like top 10 songs of all time.
Yeah, no, I remember you said this album was pretty top for you, you know?
Did I?
I thought so. I thought you said it was like one of your like favorite albums.
It's definitely one of my favorite. I think like top 20, I'd say, maybe.
Okay. That's
yeah,
really nice.
but
nice.
Life is Beautiful to me, I think, is definitely like, it reminds me of Somewhere Over the Rainbow type shit. By Olukalamalele, or whatever his name is.
By Cousin Is.
Cousin Is?
Yeah, well, his name is longer. You're right. It is a longer name.
He's a
people call him Cousin Is. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like I forget what his whole name. It's like Izzy, and then he
Izzy
has that last name.
Like that.
Yeah. But
is that racist? No. I love Hawaiian people.
I don't know how to say it, so I'm not even gonna try. But yeah, but people
way.
call him Cousin Is. Yeah.
Okay.
But
check out that song if anybody, you know, let us know what you think. Lil Peep, check it out. Yeah. Love you guys. Check out the Mind Control podcast on Instagram, and actually,
I got the documentary for Lil Peep too. It's good. Everybody's Everything
on Netflix, right?
Good. Yeah, it's on Netflix right now, so it's good. It's good.
Oh yeah.